you feeling it? That quiet, persistent sense of being overwhelmed. That constant pressure to perform, to excel, to live up to expectations. The sting of a setback that you replay over and over in your mind. The gnawing anxiety about a future that feels hazy and uncertain. People tell us to just be positive, to be the good vibe, to think happy thoughts. But let's be honest, those words rarely hit home. They land like platitudes shouted into the void. It's like trying to put out a raging forest fire with a tiny water gun. It just doesn't work. Because the truth is, life isn't always sunshine and rainbows. It's chaotic, unforgiving. And sometimes it asks more of us than we think we can bear. On the outside, you might look calm. Inside, there's a storm. You scroll through curated feeds of success and feel a quiet panic rising. Am I falling behind? Am I enough? It's not just you. It's an epidemic. Men in their 20s, 30s, and 40s are reporting unprecedented levels of burnout and loneliness. Therapists call it the silent crisis. Quiet quitting, hustle culture, doom scrolling until 2 in the morning. We live in an age that celebrates busyness, but leaves little space for reflection, for meaning. What if the key to strength isn't about avoiding pain at all, but about learning how to stand firm within it? What if the answer isn't another quick fix, another motivational slogan or productivity hack, but a timeless wisdom forged by the greatest minds in history, a philosophy designed for times of chaos and uncertainty? A guidebook crafted in the streets of ancient Athens, in the courts of Rome, in the slave quarters of Epictetus's house, tested in the Colosseum, on the battlefield, and in exile. Today, we're not here to recite philosophy like students at a lecture. We're here to build a survival guide for the modern soul. We're going to dive deep into Stoicism, not as a dusty artifact from the past, but as a practical, actionable blueprint for constructing an unbreakable mind. This isn't a quick guide. It's a deep dive, a comprehensive journey into the principles and practices that will transform the way you handle adversity. This is your journey to inner resilience. And this is Stoicism Reforged, our channel, our community, our forge. Here we breathe new life into ancient Stoic teachings and apply them to the modern world. If you're tired of empty slogans and ready for tools that actually work, you're in the right place. Consider this your invitation to step into the forge and begin the process of reforging yourself. The forge is hot, the hammer is heavy, but you are not alone. Part 1. The Foundation. The unshakable bedrock of Stoicism. Before we can build, we must understand the foundation. And at the heart of Stoicism lie 2 revolutionary ideas that will completely reframe your world and give you a footing that cannot be shaken by circumstances. The Dichotomy of Control. The single most important concept. The Stoics knew something most of us forget every single day. There are things we can control and there are things we cannot. They called it the Dichotomy of Control. What can we control? Our thoughts, our judgments, our reactions, and our actions. What can we not control? Everything else. The weather, the economy, what other people think of us, the traffic, the global pandemic, that promotion you've worked for months to secure, whether that investor will say yes, whether the person you love will stay. Most of our anxiety comes from a fundamental error. We spend all our time and energy worrying about things outside of our control. We fret about what our boss might say, what the headlines will be tomorrow, how a difficult situation might turn out. It's like yelling at the clouds, hoping the storm will listen. It's an act of futility that only drains our mental and emotional energy. Modern psychology and neuroscience back this up. When you obsess over what you can't control, your amygdala, the brain's fear center, lights up. Cortisol floods your body. Your heart rate spikes. Over time, chronic stress harms your immune system, shortens your lifespan, and corrodes your relationships. But when you focus on what you can control, your response, your attitude, you activate the prefrontal cortex, the rational part of your brain. You calm down. You think clearly. You reclaim your agency. This isn't surrendering to fate. It's an active redirection of your energy. It's the ultimate act of empowerment, taking back control of the one thing that truly matters, your inner world. The Stoics taught us to draw a clear circle. Inside the circle are the things we can control. This is where we should focus all our effort. Outside the circle is everything else. We must accept and let go of these things. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor, wrote in his private journal, Meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This line wasn't written for an audience. He wrote it for himself in the middle of a military campaign, facing plague and political intrigue. It was a reminder that the only person he could ultimately govern was Marcus. This simple circle of control has changed lives. Picture a man who's just lost his job due to a market downturn. He's angry, anxious, terrified of letting down his family. If he spends his nights fixated on the unfairness of his boss's decision, on the state of the economy, on what strangers think of him, he spirals deeper. But if he sits down and says, "I cannot control this layoff, I can control how I respond," everything changes. He updates his resume, contacts his network, picks up freelance work, uses the free time to deepen his skills. He might still feel fear, but fear no longer paralyzes him. That is the power of the circle. It's worth noting that Stoicism doesn't demand apathy toward the external world. It isn't a call to withdraw from politics, relationships, or community. It's a call to engage with reality, while accepting that the outcome is not always in your hands. As modern Stoic author William Irvine puts it, it's about adopting internal goals, focusing on effort and virtue, rather than external outcomes you can't guarantee. That way you can play the game of life with passion and intensity, but you won't be crushed by losses or consumed by victories. The 4 cardinal virtues. Your inner moral compass. Stoicism is not a set of life hacks. It's a philosophy centered on living a life of virtue. For the Stoics, virtue was the highest good, the only thing that truly matters. A virtuous life is lived in accordance with reason and nature. These virtues aren't talents you're born with. They are skills you must develop through daily practice. There are 4 of them, and they serve as your moral compass. Wisdom, prudence. This is the ability to see the world as it truly is, to understand what is good, what is bad, and what is indifferent. It's about making sound judgments and seeking truth, not just accumulating facts. A wise person knows when to speak and when to be silent, and understands the true value of things. Wisdom is the virtue that guided Seneca when he wrote letters of counsel to his friend Lucilius. It's why he could advise on wealth without condemning it. He understood that money itself is indifferent. What matters is how you use it. In our world, wisdom means being discerning about information. In an age of misinformation and outrage, wisdom means pausing before sharing a headline, checking sources, thinking long-term. Justice, fairness. This is the virtue of treating others with kindness and fairness. It means acting with integrity, compassion, and a sense of duty to your fellow human beings. A just person understands that we are all part of a single, interconnected community. As Marcus Aurelius said, that which is not good for the beehive cannot be good for the bee. Justice led Musonius Rufus, one of Rome's greatest Stoic teachers, to argue that women deserve the same education as men, a radical view for his time. In the corporate world, justice could mean speaking up when you see unethical behavior, even if it costs you popularity. In personal life, it could mean dividing chores fairly at home, or giving your time to mentor a younger colleague. Justice is not passive. It's active care for the world. Courage, fortitude. This isn't about charging into battle with bravado. It's the courage to face your fears, to stand up for what's right, and to endure hardship with resilience. It's the mental fortitude to face discomfort, anxiety, and uncertainty without being crushed by them. It's the courage to be vulnerable and to live authentically. Think of James Stockdale, the U.S. Navy pilot shot down over Vietnam in 1965. A student of Stoicism, he used Epictetus' teachings to survive 7 years as a prisoner of war, including torture and solitary confinement. He refused early release because he didn't want to leave his men. That's courage, not the absence of fear, but refusing to let fear dictate your actions. In everyday life, courage might mean calling a friend to admit you're struggling, going to therapy, ending a toxic relationship, or asking for that raise you know you've earned. Temperance, self-control. This is the mastery of your own desires and impulses. It is the ability to resist instant gratification, to live with moderation, and to be disciplined. A temperate person is not a pleasure hater, but someone who understands that true happiness comes from self-control, not from being a slave to their desires. Modern life bombards us with dopamine hits, notifications, likes, streaming binges, one-click purchases. Temperance is choosing to turn off your phone at dinner so you can truly listen. It's going for a run instead of hitting snooze for the 10th time. It's having 1 glass of wine instead of 3. It's understanding that moderation sets you free because you no longer need to chase the next fix. These 4 virtues are not separate. They work together. They are the guiding principles for every thought and action, the framework for a life of purpose and meaning. Wisdom guides your decisions. Courage gives you the strength to act on them. Justice ensures your actions are aligned with the common good, and temperance keeps your desires in check so you can stay the course. But the Stoics didn't leave these virtues in the abstract. They lived them. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." That is our challenge. Part 2. The 3 pillars. Applying Stoicism to modern life. With the foundation set, let's build the pillars that will support you in the real world. These are the 3 core mindsets you can cultivate to transform your experience of life and bring Stoic principles into the everyday. Pillar 1. Mastering your mindset. Your mind is your kingdom. The greatest battlefield isn't in the outside world. It's within your own mind. Our minds have a powerful tendency to see a catastrophe where there is only an event. A colleague gives you critical feedback and your mind immediately concludes, "I'm a failure." A project gets delayed and your mind catastrophizes, everything is falling apart. You get ghosted after a date and suddenly you're convinced you're unlovable. We are meaning-making machines, and often we make meaning that hurts us. The Stoics taught us to be guardians of our own minds, to challenge these automatic negative judgments. Epictetus, a former slave who became a great Stoic teacher, said men are disturbed not by things, but by the views which they take of them. A flat tire on your commute isn't inherently bad. It is a fact. The suffering comes from your judgment that this fact is a disaster. This is the essence of cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, a modern form of psychology that has its roots in Stoicism. It teaches us to identify and challenge our irrational thoughts. Practical application. The next time you feel a strong negative emotion, anger, anxiety, frustration, pause. Ask yourself 3 questions. What is the objective fact of this situation, e.g., the presentation was not well received? Strip away the story and just name what happened. What is my emotional judgment about it, e.g.? They all think I'm incompetent. See if you're mind-reading, catastrophizing, or personalizing events. Is this judgment serving me? What's a more rational and helpful perspective, e.g., I can learn from this feedback and improve the next presentation. Choose a thought that empowers rather than paralyzes you. This simple act of separating the event from your emotional judgment is the first step to reclaiming your power. It's how you build an inner castle, an impregnable fortress against the chaos of the world. Over time, you'll find your mood swinging less wildly. You'll spend less time stewing in regret or worrying about tomorrow. You'll show up more present for the people you love. That is mastery of mindset. For those more advanced in Stoic practice, consider applying this to subtler judgments. When you feel envy scrolling through Instagram, ask yourself, what story am I telling about my life relative to this curated image? Or when you succeed and feel pride, ask, am I assigning value to something outside my control? Stoicism isn't about suppressing feelings. It's about understanding them and not letting them run the show. Pillar 2. Adversity is an opportunity. The obstacle is the way. Most people fear and avoid hardship. They seek comfort and ease at all costs. But the Stoics embraced adversity. They believed that just as a blacksmith forges a sword in fire, our character is forged in the fire of challenge. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most powerful men in history, wrote in his Meditations, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This is a profound and paradoxical truth. The very thing blocking your path, a difficult conversation, a project failure, a financial setback, is the tool you need to get past it. The challenge isn't a detour. It's the actual path to mastery. Think of it like weightlifting. You don't get stronger by lifting the lightest weights. You grow by facing resistance. The pain of the resistance is what builds muscle. In the same way, emotional and mental resistance builds resilience. Ryan Holiday popularized this idea in his book, The Obstacle is the Way, applying Stoic wisdom to entrepreneurship, sports, and personal development. Athletes like Malcolm Jenkins of the NFL and entrepreneurs like Tim Ferriss credit Stoicism for helping them reframe failures as stepping stones. When Jenkins missed a crucial tackle early in his career, he didn't spiral. He studied the film, learned his weak points, and came back stronger. When Ferriss's first business collapsed, he used the setback to experiment with lifestyle design, eventually writing the 4-Hour Workweek. The obstacle was the way. Practical application. When you encounter an obstacle, don't just react with frustration. Ask yourself, what Stoic virtue can I practice right now, e.g.? A rude customer is a chance to practice patience and temperance. A massive project is a chance to practice courage and wisdom. What can I learn from this challenge, e.g.? A project failure taught me the importance of clear communication and contingency planning. How can I use this obstacle to my advantage, e.g.? Losing my job is a difficult time, but it's also an opportunity to pursue a new passion or build a skill I've neglected. Advanced practitioners can go deeper. See if you can approach adversity with amor fati, a love of fate. This isn't passive acceptance. It's enthusiastic engagement. Nietzsche described it as wanting nothing to be different, not forward, not backward, not in all eternity. It's radical. But when you adopt this mindset, every difficulty becomes a gift, every setback a teacher. Pillar 3. Memento Mori, the ultimate call to action. The final perspective. Memento Mori is perhaps the most profound and misunderstood. It means, remember that you will die. To many it sounds grim. even morbid. But for the Stoics, it was the opposite. It was a powerful tool to bring life into sharp focus. Our biggest enemy is often not fear, but procrastination and distraction. We live as if we have an infinite supply of tomorrows. We postpone our dreams. We put off difficult conversations. We waste our time on things that don't matter. Modern culture doesn't like to talk about death. We hide it behind euphemisms. But ignoring mortality robs life of urgency. Steve Jobs famously said, "Remembering that I'll be dead soon is the most important tool I've ever encountered to help me make the big choices in life." Jobs had read Marcus Aurelius. He knew that when you confront mortality, trivial worries fall away. You realize the email inbox will never be empty. Your children won't always be this small. Your parents won't be here forever. And so you prioritize what actually matters. Memento Mori is the ultimate wake-up call, reminding us that our time is a finite and precious resource. It strips away the noise and brings our attention back to what actually matters: our character, our relationships, our purpose. As Seneca wrote, "Let us prepare our minds as if we had come to the very end of life. Let us postpone nothing." It's also about humility. Marcus Aurelius would meditate in the morning about the fleeting nature of fame and the inevitability of decay. It kept his ego in check. Practical application. Use this principle not to despair, but to inspire. Start each day by asking, if this were my last day, what would I prioritize? End each day by asking, did I act in alignment with my deepest values? Let the shortness of life be your motivation to live fully, to act courageously, and to treat others with kindness. Memento Mori is not a reminder of death. It is a reminder to live. Advanced Stoics sometimes practice preparatio mortis, preparation for death, by imagining the death of loved ones, not to torment themselves, but to cherish them more. This may sound extreme, but Seneca believed contemplating loss made us better lovers, better friends, better parents. When you understand that nothing is guaranteed, gratitude blossoms. Part 3. The Stoic Toolkit. Putting philosophy into practice. Philosophy without action. That's just talk. Now that you understand the principles, it's time to build a daily routine that will cement them into your life. Rituals anchor wisdom in behavior. Stoics call these practices ascesis training. The morning routine. Preparation for the day's battle. Your day begins not when you wake up, but with your first conscious thought. The morning is your launching pad. Just as athletes stretch before a game, Stoics prepare their minds. Read and reflect. Start your day by reading a short passage from a Stoic philosopher like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus, or modern interpreters like Massimo Pigliucci. Let their wisdom set the tone for your day. Copy a line into a notebook, reflect on it, paraphrase it, argue with it. The goal is to prime your mind for virtuous action. Premeditatio malorum. Premeditation of evils. Spend a few minutes mentally preparing for the challenges you might face. Imagine potential setbacks: an angry email, a missed deadline, a rude comment, a traffic jam, a temptation to procrastinate. Visualize yourself responding with calm and virtue. This doesn't make you pessimistic. It makes you prepared. Neuroscientist Andrew Huberman explains that mental rehearsal reduces anxiety and enhances performance. Affirmation. Remind yourself of your control. Say to yourself today, I will not be disturbed by external events. I will control my judgments and focus on what is within my power. Some Stoics recite the Serenity Prayer. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. Whatever words you choose, make them your shield for the day. For advanced practice, incorporate breath work. The Stoics emphasize the connection between breath and mind. Try box breathing. Inhale for 4 counts, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4 to center yourself. Midday practices, staying aligned. Stoicism isn't just a morning and evening routine, it's an all-day mindset. Here are micro practices to keep you aligned. Stoic pause. Before reacting to an email, a news headline, or a social media post, count to 3 and ask, is this within my control? This pause interrupts reactivity and allows reason to step in. Virtue check-in, set a timer for midday. When it goes off, ask, which virtue have I practiced today? Where have I fallen short? This brings awareness to your actions when your willpower begins to wane. Obstacle reframe. When something goes wrong, a deal collapses, a meeting is canceled, whisper to yourself, the obstacle is the way. Notice how your body relaxes. The evening routine. Reflection and improvement. Just as a sailor charts their course, you must reflect on your day to ensure you are staying on track. The Stoics ended their day with introspection. Seneca recommended asking yourself, what bad habit have you cured today? What fault did you take care of? In what respect are you better? Journaling. At the end of the day, take out a journal and ask yourself 3 questions. What did I do well today? Focus on virtues, practice not accomplishments. Did you show patience? Did you speak honestly? Did you act justly? Where did I fall short? Where did you lose your temper, give in to desire, make a poor judgment, don't self-flagellate, observe with compassion? What can I do better tomorrow? A single actionable goal for the next day. Keep it small and specific. Contemplation, replay. Difficult moments from your day. See them not as failures, but as opportunities for future practice. How could you have applied the Dichotomy of Control, or one of the 4 virtues, differently? If you snapped at someone, imagine yourself pausing and speaking kindly. Gratitude. End your day by writing down 1 or 2 things you are grateful for. This practice puts your life into perspective and reminds you of the abundance you have. Gratitude is scientifically linked to increased happiness and decreased depression. Memento Mori. Some Stoics end the day by contemplating mortality, not to scare themselves, but to appreciate the gift of another day. They might write, I have lived another day. I will not assume another will come. Was today spent well? This ritual becomes your inner compass, helping you learn from your mistakes and grow stronger with each passing day. It's simple, but don't underestimate its power. It's in these small, consistent reflections that transformation occurs. Part 4. Depth and nuance. Beyond the basics. If you've been practicing Stoicism for a while, you might crave depth. After all, the Stoics themselves were not monolithic. They debated, evolved, disagreed, and had blind spots. To respect the richness of Stoic tradition, we must also explore its nuances and criticisms. Stoicism and emotion suppression, or Mastery 1. Common misconception is that Stoics suppress emotions. Critics call them cold. But the goal is not to be unfeeling, it's to avoid being controlled by feelings. Seneca cried when his loved ones died. He also wrote letters on grief to comfort a friend. The Stoics acknowledge emotions as natural responses. What they question is the judgments we attach to emotions. Modern acceptance and commitment therapy echoes this. It teaches us to feel fully and act in line with values rather than being led by emotions. Advanced Stoicism asks, can you feel sadness without labeling it as bad? Can you feel anger without lashing out? Can you let joy flow without clinging to it? Stoicism and social justice engagement, or withdrawal. Another critique is that Stoicism encourages apathy about injustice. Yes, Stoics accept what they cannot change, but they also believe in justice as a cardinal virtue. Marcus Aurelius spent much of his reign on campaign defending Rome's borders and implementing reforms. Cato the Younger fought against tyranny. Today's Stoics can apply the same principles to activism. When you see systemic racism, you recognize that you cannot single-handedly end it, but you can work within your sphere, educate yourself, vote, donate, speak up at work. You commit to justice while accepting that outcomes aren't guaranteed. Stoicism and masculinity, strength with empathy. In modern U.S. culture, Stoicism is often linked to masculinity. Some pick up Stoic practices because they're tired of being told to man up without guidance. Yet there's a danger of misinterpreting Stoicism as emotional Stoicism, the stiff upper lip. Real Stoicism encourages vulnerability. Marcus wrote about his anxieties. Epictetus cried out when his leg was broken by his master. To apply Stoicism to masculinity is to cultivate strength, yes, the strength to sit with discomfort, to apologize, to ask for help, to protect without dominating. In 2024, men's groups are using Stoicism to redefine masculine virtues in healthy ways, focusing on brotherhood, justice, discipline, temperance, service, justice, and courage, Stoicism and neuroscience. Ancient wisdom meets modern science. The Stoics didn't have brain scans, but their practices align with what we now know about neuroplasticity. Cognitive reappraisal, changing your interpretation of an event, is a proven way to reduce emotional pain. Practices like negative visualization and gratitude journaling increase activity in the prefrontal cortex and decrease amygdala reactivity. Cold exposure, a trend in the U.S. wellness space, is also used by Stoics, like Wim Hof followers. It teaches you to breathe through discomfort and see that your response is within control. If you're an enthusiast, dive into the work of Judson Brewer, Lisa Feldman Barrett, and Sam Harris to see how Stoic principles appear in modern psychology. Stoicism and spirituality, compatible with religion. Some Christians, Buddhists, and atheists practice Stoicism. Why? Because Stoicism isn't a religion. It's a system of ethics and training. Many early Christians, including St. Paul, were influenced by Stoic teachers. Buddhism's emphasis on non-attachment parallels Stoic detachment. Atheists appreciate Stoicism's naturalism. Advanced practitioners can explore these intersections to find resonance and address tensions. For example, Christianity teaches surrender to God's will, while Stoicism teaches alignment with the logos, the rational order. Both encourage acceptance. Buddhist meditation and Stoic mindfulness both cultivate present moment awareness. Recognizing these overlaps enriches practice. Conclusion: the journey of a lifetime. So there you have it, the complete Stoic blueprint for an unbreakable mind. A framework built on the principles of the Dichotomy of Control, guided by the 4 cardinal virtues, and applied through the 3 pillars of mastering your mindset, embracing adversity, and remembering your mortality. We've delved into the daily rituals that make philosophy practical. We've wrestled with misconceptions and explored the meeting points between Stoicism, psychology, neuroscience, masculinity, and activism. We've learned that Stoicism isn't about feeling nothing. It's about feeling everything with clarity. It isn't about leaving the world. It's about engaging it wisely. This is not a destination. It is a journey of a lifetime, a daily practice. Some days you will fail and some days you will succeed. But with these tools, you are no longer a passive passenger on the ship of life. You are the captain navigating the storms with wisdom and courage. You will fall, and you will stand up. You will feel fear, and you will act anyway. You will be tempted, and you will choose virtue. We'd love to hear which of these principles resonates most with you. What one Stoic practice will you try starting today? Let us know in the comments below. Share your story so others know they are not alone. Tell us how you are bringing justice to your workplace, how you are practicing temperance in a world of excess, how you are finding courage to confront personal demons, how wisdom guides your decisions. Let's learn from each other's victories and vulnerabilities. If you're ready to start building a stronger, more resilient mindset, be sure to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. On Stoicism Reforged, we're on a journey to build a better life together. Join us in the forge. We're not just consuming ideas, we're crafting character. We're not just escaping pain, we're transforming pain into power. The forge is hot, the hammer is heavy, the work is hard, but the steel of your mind can be tempered. Together, we'll make sure it is. It's time to begin.